Thank you. And good morning, President Jones and members of the board. It's been over a month since we last met here in Sacramento, so I do have a number of updates for you this morning. Monday's investment committee, we had a discussion about the important roles that private equity and real assets play in helping us to achieve our long-term risk adjustment returns. It highlighted the need for the investment office to continue exploring all available opportunities in the private markets, including increasing our co-investment strategy. And again, that aligns with the long-term interests that we have here at CalPERS. As you heard from Greg Ruiz and your independent consultants, the team does have the necessary skills to engage with the potential general partners in this area. They also have the skills to underwrite those potential deals. It will take some time, and again, I think you heard this from the independent consultants as well as from our team. It'll take some time to do the pacing to get to the $10 billion that's necessary in order for us to hit our 8% policy target. It is possible with the level of fundraising that is available, and we will continue to work on the relationships with our general partners. And I think we've heard loud and clear that minimizing the GP relationships to 30, that felt like a little bit of an artificial target, and it's more the quality of those relationships, and we'll continue to pursue more of those. You also received a sustainability update on the deliverables in the 5-year strategic plan, which included some notable achievements in the areas of climate change and diversity and inclusion. Of the 500 companies we engaged with regarding board diversity, all of those have at least one female director and on their boards, and 53% have at least one diverse director. For those engagements that we felt did not result in positive outcomes, we used the proxy voting process to convey our priorities in the cases of 255 directors at 97 companies. And as an owner of those companies, we will continue to use our proxy in the best interest of CalPERS. We're also making progress on climate issues by integrating a climate framework into our own portfolio and working with like-minded partners around the globe for meaningful change. One of the ways that we've done that recently is by joining a group of institutional investors at the United Nations. And our advocacy efforts all are working. The Climate Action 100 Plus initiative, which is an initiative that we co-founded, now has over 370 signatories and represents now more than 35 trillion in assets under management. We've also had some notable success in climate risk reporting with some of the biggest greenhouse gas emitters in the United States. And climate risk, when we talk about the risks to the system, climate risk is one of the top 3 risks that we've identified, and we know that it's important to the long-term portfolio. Whether I'm talking with members of the system about the safety of their benefits, or I'm talking with employers about the rising contribution rates, there is a direct correlation between climate and financial impacts to the portfolio. On Tuesday at the Finance and Administration Committee, we reviewed the annual financial statements, which really are the foundation of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, also known as the CAFR, and the CAFR will be accessible on our website in December. And this report really provides the transparency about CalPERS' financial position, as well as disclosing all of the expenses of the fund, including the investment expenses. Turning now to some outreach and engagement. Back in October, I did participate on a panel about healthcare technology for top 1,000 funds. That is Amanda White. If you've read some of her pieces, she covers public pensions around the world. I think it was a really interesting discussion about the future of medicine and the role health technology investments will play in advancing care. For my part in the panel, I was able to offer perspectives about CalPERS because we are an investor, we're a healthcare purchaser, and we also administer a public employee pension plan. On Saturday, I'll be headed to Southern California to talk with the Peace Officers Research Association of California, also known as PORAC. I want to thank Board Member Perez for this opportunity to meet with some of our first responders and tell them really what we're doing to secure their pensions. Rounding out the year are a few more events with very different groups. First, I'll speak on a panel for the California School Boards Association at their annual education conference and trade show. That will be followed by a visit with the SEIU board, which came at the invitation of their president, Yvonne Walker. And then finally, I'll talk with members of the League of California Cities at their Municipal Finance Institute meeting. Turning now to our annual fall activities that are really done within CalPERS and that state employees participate in on behalf of community nonprofit organizations. In early October, we kicked off the annual Our Promise campaign with a fundraising auction. Desserts are always popular here at CalPERS, and exhibits by a number of Our Promise nonprofits. A couple of weeks ago, we brought the chili cook-off back because that was really important to our team, and that was done during the lunchtime break, and more than 20 teams throughout the enterprise participated, with all proceeds going to Our Promise. I'd like to take a moment to thank Don Martinez and Forrest Grimes for leading this year's efforts as co-chairs of the campaign. They had a big team of volunteers working with them to host the events, and I know our employees look forward to these each year. It's part really of what makes working at CalPERS so special. As we near the holidays, we're also participating in the State Employees Food Drive that will last into January next year. Employees will be able to make food and monetary donations during the fundraising period, which will go to support the regional food banks and also provide support services to help individuals and their families who are really experiencing difficult times around the holidays. Last year, we collected close to 45,000 pounds of food, and this year the goal is 50,000 pounds. In other internal activities, we did hold our first active shooter drill on campus earlier this month. And like other drills we hold, this is important because employee and member safety on the campus is really, our highest priority. So not just the campus here in Sacramento, but also in our regional offices around the state. We had great partners in the California Highway Patrol, the Sacramento Police and Fire Departments, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I'd like to thank them for taking a very active role in helping us to be knowledgeable as well as to be prepared. And now, before I close my report with the investment performance, I'd like to spend just a little bit of time talking about the 20th Annual Education Forum that we held in Oakland at the end of October. And I'm glad that several of you were able to join us. We had another strong year of attendance at nearly 830 people, despite the fact that some employers were not able to make it due to wildfires as well as the threat of power outages in surrounding communities. Over the last 5 years, we've hosted almost 4,000 attendees at this forum, which continues to grow each year. Through educational sessions, one-on-one consultations, and a packed exhibit hall, there were countless opportunities for attendees to connect with experts, with our team, get answers to their questions, and learn from their peers. Excuse me. Everywhere I went, and I had a number of conversations with people, and I hope you did as well, I was told consistently how exceptional this particular event was. And the improvement that they felt that they had really seen was the way that the content was delivered by the team in those breakout sessions, and that it was really an improvement in quality from years prior. And for many of them, they felt like this was the best one that they had attended. And then for the second year in a row, we hosted a special session just for local elected officials. And board members Lisa Middleton, Stacey Olivares, and President Jones were part of the discussion. And we're really there to help elected officials receive direct communication from us, as well as giving them some data that they could use and take back to their city councils or to their city administrators on what's happening at CalPERS. And much of that session, I didn't know whether we were going to get beyond this slide, but most of that session was really around the 20-year look back of, 20 years ago, the system was in an over 100% funded status. So what had happened between that 20-year time frame to today, where we're roughly 70% funded. So much of the discussion and the dialogue was really about looking at each one of those events to make sure that those events do not happen again. We also did spend some time with them looking at the 10-year look ahead, because that's very important that we look at the things that we can control. You can't control what has already happened, but you can certainly learn from it. One of the highlights of the forum each year is the Spotlight on Excellence award ceremony, which honors outstanding public service. This is a peer-nominated award. It is evaluated by a CalPERS team, but it gives employees a chance to nominate a colleague, an agency, or a program for recognition. And this year's award went to Michelle Tucker with Caltrans. and Michelle is the division chief of their Human Resources Department. And she's obviously earned a lot of admiration and respect from her peers. And I'd actually like to have the video team, which is a video that was produced completely internally, have them roll the video so that those of you who are not able to attend, as well as others in the audience, can see her award. If you could roll the video, please.
Caltrans, what we're most known for is our maintenance of the state highway system, which is over 50,000 lane miles of highway. We're here to serve the public and to make sure that we keep the infrastructure going for California.
We touch every corner of this state in terms of all the bridges, culverts, tunnels and tubes.
So in human resources, our job is to really make sure that there is a workforce that's available to do all of the transportation projects. It's an area where when everything's going well, not a lot of people think about. I want to acknowledge them and say thank you, HR team. Thank you for everything that you do to hire and recruit and retain and take care of our workforce. You're making a difference in California.
I think it was easy to have Michelle as the nomination for the Spotlight on Excellence because she exemplifies leadership skills, enabling the heart and encouraging people to do their best on some of the more complex HR issues that we face with such a diverse department.
There's 5 leadership practices that we all follow, and my favorite has always been encourage the heart. That's your humanity. I think you need to inspire people. You need to model the way. Fundamentally, people need to know you care.
So in response to Senate Bill 1, we hired nearly 2,000 people within about a 6-month span of time, which necessitated us going all over the country to try to find really qualified people. It's not just like she's saying, okay, I empower you, go do this, but do it my way. She really gives you that faith that you're going to be able to succeed, and she's going to be there to support you.
Everybody was surprised at how successful we were able to be with these hiring efforts. And Michelle's staff worked really hard under her leadership to make it happen. But we surprised everybody. That's always fun.
So exciting to talk about the Prison to Work program. Michelle really spearheaded the program and coordinated the efforts with CalHR and GovOps so that we could find a way to help individuals transition from prison to work. Through her coaching and encouragement, we were able to go into the prisons and for a select group of eligible individuals that were identified, go through the hiring process, all the way through the interview process, and it really was a heartwarming, encouraging, motivating thing to be a part of.
Our work with the unsheltered is another way that we are matching up our need to hire a strong workforce with people who may not have had access to all the opportunities in the past. So there are several groups that we've worked with to try to find a path to employment for people who are unsheltered. Caltrans and the Bay Area office in particular has actually promised 20 jobs to successful graduates of that program. To be able to hire people who have skills and who just kind of need a foot in the door is really gratifying.
Not only does she have the vision to kind of see how far a program like this can go in terms of addressing the needs of the community, but it's that vision that essentially is trickled down to the rest of us so that we embrace that vision as well.
I think the nice thing about being a leader is you have more opportunity to make changes that you want to see in the world, right? Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I think when you're a leader, it's easier to be that change because you have an impact on more people's lives.
I can genuinely say that I think that she is someone who believes in people and her teams and supports them to the fullest.
Michelle exemplifies true leadership with heart, with determination, and really with a can-do attitude, and she really does model the way.
If people like Michelle are the future of civil service, we can all relax because we know this state's going to be great. It's going to be in good hands.
There's very few places I think where you can find as much meaning, and I feel so proud to be part of connecting people to their jobs and community. So to me, a public servant is someone who wants to make a difference.
Caltrans, you're awesome! Thank you for your hard work!
Yeah. Michelle is very passionate and humble about the work that she does at Caltrans and is a great example for this award. We'll have the chance to feature another public servant agency or program at next year's annual education forum, and it will be held a little bit earlier next year. It'll be held in September on the 30th, starts September 30th and will go through October 2nd, and that location will be in Anaheim. So I'll close now with a monthly performance update of the Public Employees Retirement Fund, and this is as of September 30th, 2019. The rolling one-year return of the fund is 5.9. The three-year return is 8.1. The five-year return is 6.4, and the 10-year return is 8.4. And in closing, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and that does conclude my remarks, President Jones, but I am happy to take questions.